Hey everybody, Charlie Stevens here. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to another guitar lesson. So recently we've been talking about eighth notes and we talked about how to strum with eighth notes. So now I wanted to do a lesson where I kind of explain all the different variations we have with strumming eighth notes and quarter notes. So far we've only learned about eighth notes that are in pairs. I mean, we would need a different symbol to get just one eighth note by itself, either a half, or either an eighth rest or a dotted quarter note. But we haven't talked about those yet, so don't worry about that. Right now we're just using the combinations of eighth notes where there are two of them and they take up an entire beat. So if we were to mix those with quarter notes, we don't get all that many different variations. In fact, I got 14 examples when I just sat down to write this out just now to explain it. So what the heck am I talking about? Well, let's see here. So a lot of times when I do this when I'm in one-on-one lessons with students is I'll ask them to pick a number 1 through 4 because we have 4 beats in each measure, right? We can select one of these beats and we'll turn that quarter note into 2 eighth notes instead. Okay? So let's say that I would ask a student, I'd say pick 1 through 4. Let's say they said 3. That means I'm going to take beat 3 and instead of playing that as a regular quarter note with just a downstroke, I'll play it as 2 eighth notes with a down, up, 3, and. So let me give you an example of that. That would be like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sounds pretty musical already, and it's very simple, right? Do you understand how I arrived at that? This isn't well, I was going to say it's not some mystic thing, but it sort of can be. You can kind of tune in and draw these rhythms out of the air and use your divine inspiration, and I would certainly encourage you to do that. But, sometimes if the mood isn't striking you, go, well, what the heck can I do? And, you don't have to wait for the muse to come around necessarily. You can also just understand that these are pretty basic rhythms and there's not that many different options. You can kind of explore them and figure them out, okay? So that was on 3. So what I'd like to do today is just go through a bunch of them so we can hear the different sounds, and when you find one you like, you can put that in your song. You can write a song that has this rhythm that we'll write together, whichever one you like, or you can mix and match different rhythms. But hopefully what this will do is just get you a little less intimidated by them and get you more practice on how to go between quarter notes and eighth notes, and we'll have certain beats where we'll give different treatments to. Okay, so first we're going to do mostly quarter notes, and then we'll put eighth notes on one of the beats. Okay, so let's work backwards. It's a little weird to go 1 and 2, 3, 4. So since I think that one's a little bit more challenging than some of the other ones, I decided to put that a little further down the list. So we're going to start putting the eighth notes at the end. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just holding down this G5 shape again, and we'll just do that for this entire lesson because this is really about rhythm. You can plug in any different chords you want, or even single notes and things like that as well. So we're just going to hold down a really simple chord to really just explore the rhythms and not worry too much about the chords right now, okay? Let's go ahead and do example number 1 together. 3 quarter notes, and then on beat 4, down, up. We'll do eighth notes there. Ready? Here we go. Example number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. So not a bad little rhythm. Wanted to show you a little bit faster. You don't have to keep up with that one, but you can see they take on a little bit of different character at different speeds sometimes. So if you're experimenting with one of these and you don't really like the way it sounds slow, keep working on it. Maybe you'll like the way it sounds fast, and vice versa. Okay, great. So that was beat 4. Working backwards, what would happen if we took beat 3 and we turned those into eighth notes? We'll get 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, same chord, eighth notes on beat 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Excellent. That was example number 2. See how easy this is? That was my example from earlier in the lesson, actually, that one. But yeah, you can get lots of cool stuff, and it's very simple, right? Okay, so we did beat 4. We worked backwards to beat 3. Working backwards again puts us on beat 2, right? So that means we'll take beat 2 and we'll put eighth notes there instead. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Down, down, up, down, down. Ready? Here we go. Example number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Excellent. Okay, example number 4. Now we have to put the eighth notes on our very first beat. So we could have started here and done them in order, starting with 1, but I think this one's a tiny bit more challenging because we have to be really ready for those eighth notes. So I thought I would wait a little bit longer so we can have a little more practice of this. But now we got to be ready because right away we're going to go down, up, down, down, down. Okay, let's try it together. Number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Okay, so those are all of the combinations about taking one beat and making one of them eighth notes. That's it. What if we took 2 beats and we made them eighth notes? We can do that too, right? So in example number 5, we're going to take 2 of the beats and make them eighth notes. Let's go 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay? Example number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's keep the eighth notes on beat 1. Now we had eighth notes on beat 1, and we also had eighth notes on beat 2. So now let's turn that one back into a quarter note, and we'll put eighth notes on beat 3. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4. That's going to be our rhythm here for example number 6. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Excellent. That was example number 6. Okay, so we had eighths on beat 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. Now we need to have eighths on 1 and also eighths on beat 4. So that's going to be 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. Okay? This is example number 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Kind of cool how 4 and 1 and ba 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 kind of rolls over the bar line. We can kind of hear that one differently as it repeats over and over again. It sounds different than if we were to just play at one measure of it because it kind of sets up the next bar. So that's something important to think about. Okay, so that's it for beat number 1. We exhausted all possibilities of having eighth notes on beat 1. So now beat 1 is going to have to be a quarter note, and we'll start to mess with some of these other ones and put eighth notes on them. So now 2, we're going to go, 2 is next numerically, so we're going to put eighth notes there. And let's stay in order. Let's do 3 next. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay? Example number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a really nice one. I like that rhythm a lot. Okay, so in example number 9, we're keeping 2. We've exhausted 1. We did 2 and 3, so it must be 2 and 4's turn. So we're going to put eighth notes on beat 2, eighth notes on beat 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4 and. Okay? Example number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's a very nice rhythm too. Okay, in example number 10, so now we've exhausted all options that include 2. So now it's going to be 1, 2, and our eighth notes are going to be over here. 3 and 4 and. Okay? Example number 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice, that's a very nice rhythm as well. Okay, so that's all of our options where we took 2 of the beats and turned them into eighth notes. Now we can do 3 of the beats and turn them into eighth notes. So I've decided to do the quarter notes through to make it easy. So let's do quarter notes on beat 1, rest of them will be eighth notes. Okay, then we'll do quarter note on beat 2, quarter note on beat 3, quarter note on beat 4. We'll go in that order and kind of move the quarter note this time. So first, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay? Example 11. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a nickname for that one. I call it the boom shakalaka laka. We'll talk about that another time when we go over the boom chuck, the boom chukka, the boom chakalaka laka. I have kind of sort of silly names for some of these to help me understand them, and that falls into one of these categories. So a lot of these will show up in other places. This is kind of an exhaustive list of all of the different kinds, of just these 2 types of rhythms, quarters and eighths. These are the different ways you can mix them. Okay, now we're going to do 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. We're taking that quarter note, was on 1, we're shifting it to 2, and we're trying that option. Example 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, moving right down the list, we did quarter note was on beat 1, then quarter note was on beat 2, now quarter note's going to be on beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Okay? Example number 13. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now there's only one other option. We did quarter note 1, quarter note 2, quarter note 3. That leaves quarter note 4, right? So all of these will be eighth notes. Beat 4 will be a quarter note all by itself. Last one, example 14. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, so those are all the combinations that I could come up with in this one sitting, and I sat down to kind of change them around. I think that's all of them. If you think of some more combinations, please leave me a comment, and we can practice those too. So I don't want this to be like overwhelming for you, this list. You don't necessarily have to do all of these, but I just wanted to show you how I approach that. It can be really simple. We have 4 beats. We have different things we can do with the beat. We can either do one strum, or we can do it down and up. It gets when we add rests and stuff, we can actually even not strum on some of the beats, and we can do things like this: 1 and 3, 4. I left out beat 2 and I put an up after it. So we have some more variation that we can get into with this as well. But for now, without getting into different symbols, because I'm also trying to teach you how to read, and we're going kind of slow and methodically. So we'll get to those. Those rhythms aren't really any more complicated or anything. We just don't have the symbolism to explain it yet. So we'll wait on those a little bit. But with what we have right now, we have all these different varieties, 14 different ways by my count to break up a measure of music, right? So feel free to go through the whole list. Feel free to pick one that you really like and experiment that with different chords. Maybe experiment with writing a song. Try 2 or 3 chords you like the sound of together and pick one of these rhythms. Maybe 2 of these rhythms. Maybe you can have 3 of these rhythms. Every measure could have a different rhythm if you want. Typically, I think songs would have a kind of a reoccurring strumming pattern for most of the song, or at least a section, and maybe the next section have a different one. But that's really not set in stone. You can be as creative with this as you'd like to be. Okay? Well, thank you so much for joining me for this lesson. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that gave you some ideas on how to open up your rhythm playing a little bit. Please join me again for some more guitar lessons real soon. We're going to talk about how to use some of these rhythms as we change chords, and then we'll start to see them in real songs pretty soon as well. If you're enjoying this series, please click the subscribe button and feel free to leave comments and get engaged with the community here, and I really appreciate you watching the video. Bye.